All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage, who may be joining us here a little bit later. And we're definitely happy and grateful for all of you being here with us as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in this Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions. Grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage, which you guys always do an amazing job of doing that. So let's make sure that we keep that up. If everybody can hear me loud and clear, please drop me a 1 in the chat. Let me know that you're all ready to go. I appreciate it. Yep, we got a 1 coming in. All right, we are all good. So seems like I've been away since forever. So it's good to know that I still can get everything up and running. So thanks for all the ones. Let me know that you are all good. So let's close out of here. And while I am still getting caught up on a lot of things, let's click over and take a look at the Forex factory. First and foremost, fairly light today. But tomorrow, right? This is the day that all the investors are waiting on. Why? Because tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., we have CPI coming out for the United States. We've got month over month, year over year, and the core CPI month over month. So we are trying to see what's going on with the inflation gauge. And we know this is a key source to try to figure things out. So let's see what's going on. So we'll take a look at the core CPI. For those of you who may be new and may not know, why traders care. Consumer prices account for a majority of overall inflation. Inflation is important currency valuation because rising prices leads the central bank to raise interest rates out of respect for their inflation containment mandate. Okay, so we know inflation a while ago seems like now peaked at 9%, and then it's been coming down slightly ever since. So we shall see. Now your core CPI does exclude food and energy prices. Okay, so which could be pretty volatile. So it excludes that. So that's going to be pretty important tomorrow. And then Thursday, okay, we've got monetary policy report coming out and a rate statement coming out for the UK, which we know inflation is still high. So the Bank of England is going to have to make some decisions in regards to that rate. So the forecast is for it to go from 4.25 to 4.5. So that's 25 basis points expected. So we shall see if they hold to that 25, or maybe they'll go higher. We don't know, right? Until it happens. And then we've got the monetary policy statement summary coming out, which is the forward guidance on that. And then we've got Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking. And then on top of that, on Thursday, we've got the core PPI month over month for the United States. So that's the producer price index as well. So very important economic data coming out that we definitely need to be aware of. Any questions in regards to that? Oh, good. All right. So we're clear on that. So that's definitely some things to look out for in regards to volatility tomorrow. And I want to click over, take a look at trading economics. We can see U.S. small business optimism the lowest since 2013, right? So just kind of the business optimism index, just showing that it's coming through lower, right? So that can kind of lead into inflation. I mean, not inflation, but consumer small business sentiment. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. So the lowest since 2013. So we're still getting mixed data coming out, right? Still trying to figure out, hey, is there going to be a recession? If so, how deep? Is the Fed going to be able to pull off a soft landing? Some of the economic data says that can definitely happen. Some not so much. We know we have the issues with the banks, the back and forth with that. A lot of the regional banks going on, getting gobbled up by the behemoths, Jamie Dimon, the Jamie Dimons of the world. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that as well. So moving over, taking a look at the DXY, we can see where, right, we still got that crown pattern going on, and we're pretty much moving this sideways. All right, so we got bearish last week on the dollar, and then we're neutral here, right? Which makes sense. Hey, just ahead of um, just ahead of the CPI tomorrow, and then the PPI on Thursday. So we always say we need a catalyst, so we should see some movement either way on the dollar tomorrow. And we can see here as we zoom in on the daily, we're kind of just hovering at that support. Okay, so we'll see if the data that comes out pushes us either way. We just need the market to move, right? This we don't like. We want to see that price trending. Okay, so we need that fundamental data to move us along. All right. So that's the DXY. Ryan, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, bro. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Things starting to settle down around the household.
Yeah, it's been crazy for you, man.
Yeah, it's a little wild, especially coming off vacation. But it is all good. We're holding it down and keeping it together. So, like I always say, this is my sanctuary here when I get to be here with everybody. Kind of takes me away from the madness for at least an hour or so. So it's
Yes, sir.
all good. It's all good. So this is that DXY. Anything on the fundamental front that you've read into?
No, nothing today. All eyes are on tomorrow, so maybe we'll see something happen
Yeah,
tomorrow, one way or the other.
yeah. I think that my I think that with that report we might see a slight uptick in the CPI, but I think it's going to come through that it's accelerating at a lot slower rate. I think you're going to continue to see that. So let me see it creep up a little bit, but the rate of which it's doing it is starting to slow. So maybe come June, another 25 basis points potentially from the Fed, and then maybe a pause. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think something similar. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. So let's dive into these charts, right? So we could start. Right, some folks join us. Okay, welcome. So let's start at the. We'll go to the Aussies, right? It's been a while since I've done this, right? It's been a while. So let's go. I know you covered the yen and the Aussie Swissy today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the Aussie NZD because that is currently short, right? So I'm currently short on that. You can see from the weekly perspective um, that we're moving bearish, right? So we ended up neutral last week after a strong bearish move to the downside, rejecting off that 109.31. Okay, so this is the weekly chart we're looking at, everybody. Okay, key levels, right? That's what leads us down through the rest of the time frame. So you can see here we got a nice bearish move here. And a lot of times after you get a huge move like that, week where it went bearish, dude, right? There's some indecision there, right? You got some buyers coming in trying to push the market up. You got your bearish still wanting to sell off, and that's what we got. And now we've got a continuation down. So maybe we end up moving back down to the support at 105.90. As we move through, you can see here that you got a daily level at 106.24 coming into play as well. We got our stochastic price momentum slowing to the downside, but hey, we're coming into a support level. That makes sense. It's been a pretty strong bearish move, right? There, almost 300 pips, we pull back, and now we may be coming back to retest that zone. So still, in my eyes, a bearish move, and this is what we're looking at, right? Look at the look at the pullback right in between that 50-61.8 zone, and then we sold out. Okay, we sold out. So right now, okay, we're down a 64 pips or so. We come and take a look at the smaller wave. You got a lot deeper retracement, but you can see where we pull back, and now we're rolling. Right, a little bit off, but we're sell side nonetheless. Right, you can see we got the break and the retest there, and we've been down. Right? So still holding that trade bearish on the Aussie NZD, right? So if we come over to our investing.com, let's take a look at the technical summary on that. Make sure that's a lot. summary. Let's see what we got. So Aussie and ZD, right, selling strong across the board on Aussie and ZD. Right? So we're definitely looking to stay sell side on that. All right, so that's that on the Aussie and ZD. Any questions at all regarding that pair?
Oh.
Okay, so let's move on. You covered the Aussie, Swiss Aussie. Aussie CAD is kind of just trapped, right? So, which kind of makes sense. You got Aussie selling off. The CAD is the strongest currency on the books right now. So, if we take a quick look at this Aussie CAD, just to review it, types of stuff going off these chats. All right, so we kind of, right, we broke that level, we retested at 92.29 and we pushed down. So now we're kind of just moving sideways, right? So we're bearish and now we're kind of neutral, just pushing sideways there in a bit of a range. You can see it a lot better here coming into the daily. Okay, you see we're trapped in between that 91.04 and that 89.42 level. Okay, stochastic, right? Momentum is slowing to the buy side. And you can see if we come down to the 4-hour chart, got to get it together. All right, so if we come down to the 4-hour chart, you can see as we zoom in where that price is ranging. But overall, right, because of the downside move, we've already had a pullback into our sell zone up against that 92.29, and we pushed down. So now we're just moving sideways, right? Until the market convinces me otherwise, right? Both weak at some point, right? I would love to see it continue to the downside to this extension. Okay, and that's just going off the impulse leg, impulse move, sell side there. Okay, so we're still within this AB boundary here. So till things change, we're ranging right now, but ultimately I want to see it finish out at the 88.30. Any questions on the Aussie CAD?
Oh.
No. All right. Cool. Let's take a look at the Aussie dollar. And right, so we can see that dollar is bouncing around. We saw that on the DXY. And you can see here, right, we were bullish last week. Aussie got a boost. Okay, some of the fundamental data. And you can see how we pushed into the 68.04 and we haven't broken it yet. It's tested that multiple times now, right? These are weekly candlesticks, right? So you got to test it there once, pretty much there in that zone. Another time here, okay, we eventually broke it and came right back down underneath it. So that last move predominantly was to the upside. And now we're struggling here in this area. Stochastic is back in the sell zone on the daily. Okay. Right. Again, right. We know the dollar's just been ranging, hasn't been at its strongest. And you can see here where we are. Right. Same position. Right. Same position. As crazy as it is, we still haven't gotten that 4-hour 382, but it's trying to. Right? It's trying to. Now, I closed this out before I went on vacation, but technically, you would be up right now on that trade if you were still holding that trade, right? Didn't hit the D extension for the stop, but it is still trying to work its way to that 4-hour 382. Now, a lot of this, right? We need some things to shake loose. We need some things to shake loose on this with this report tomorrow, the CPI and the PPI for Wednesday and Thursday. And so we'll see, right, if we can get that move back up to that 382. If we see a serious cooling off in regards to core inflation, right, core CPI, then we may see, right, as a result of dollar weakness, right, we may see that move up and finally hit that daily 382. But it's been ranging, but look at what it did, right? It refused to break through that 65.75, 65.57 weekly level there. Didn't head to that D extension. and it returned right back to the upside. Okay, so that's been quite a move. When we come into the one, just tracking that last leg right to the upside, you can see where we are here, right on the cloud. Let me pull this out. So you can see how it ranged and then it broke right back through the cloud. And there's that 4 hour 382. So this will be interesting. Tomorrow, it'll give us a better idea whether or not that move's going to finish out. Right, or if it's going to push back down. Okay, so you have two currencies that haven't been the strongest, and so you get it range bound, right? Okay, we all know that now. So that's the Aussie dollar. Any questions on that?
No.
All right, appreciate it. So that's the Aussies. That's all I want to cover there. I want to check. Ryan covered this earlier, but I want to take a look back at this Aussie yen because I am pretty bullish against everything in regards to the yen right now. So I want to see what we're looking like here. Okay. Yeah, so we're still making that steady progress throughout the day. Okay, so pretty good, right? So you see how these weekly levels, these monthly levels, right? Your daily levels are very, very important because you see how price reacts, right? So and we've covered this before, but this is very, very important, right? Because this is a very simple way to look at the markets in regards to where the reversal may occur, right? So when you see price push down, okay, everybody see that? Drop me a one. Everybody see price push down to this 87.07, 86.08 zone right here and how it's holding. Everybody drop me a one if you see that, right? This is why that's important. This is why you don't skip over your top-down analysis, right? All right, what type of strategy you're using, always do your top-down analysis, okay? Because that tells me when this is holding, I got a possible U-turn, right? That could be happening, okay? That's why it's important. As a matter of fact, when you look back at this 87, 86.08 level, that's past resistance becoming future support, and you can see this exploding. So regardless of whether you've ever put a fib on your chart or not, if you could get this part down, it can help you out a ton, right? And I'm hoping I'm clear on that, okay? Because that's very important. So here, okay? Now the fibs, right, will help us understand long-term price projections, right? But it always starts with this support and resistance. I can't cover that enough, okay? So if we link this down, right? Take this circle down like that, okay? See that there on the daily, right? See how that pushed down there, okay? So when you see price pushing, you can either go to your daily, your 4 hour, whatever chart you're playing on. I love going right from a weekly to a daily to a 4 hour because you'll see where this started to take off, right? So if I'm going from my top down and I come into my zone, right, of support, I'm gonna get a 4 hour swing low before I get a weekly or a daily swing low. Everybody get me on that? Drop me a two. I'm gonna see, because I'm on a lower time frame, I'm gonna see, right, a daily, right, swing low or a 4 hour swing low before I get a weekly swing low, right? Or a daily swing low if I'm looking at the 4 hour, right? So if you come back to the daily, you see, okay, I've marked top down and now price is coming to these levels, right? See, I was coming into these levels here. That's going to put me on high alert on my lower time frame. This is just strictly talking about support and resistance because a lot of times I think that is overlooked, right? It's overlooked, and we just want to jump straight to the fibs and things like that. But this is the origin of the whole thing, right? You see this here, this move, right? If you could learn how to just spot that, mark your support and resistance, and say, okay, I've got, this is 86, so this is a strong weekly level. And now I'm dropping down to my 4 You see that V-type reversal there? That's because it's swing low form, right? So if I'm coming in to my chart and I noticed while I'm doing my top-down analysis, like this is the key level. I got past, right? Resistance becoming future support. Okay, I can start to, right, come down to my 4. Track that. This is when we're just talking about horizontal support and resistance, okay, and trend lines, okay, which is a diagonal form of support resistance, okay. So I can make plays off of that. If I'm willing to be patient, if I'm willing to zoom out on my higher time frames and see where price is heading, whether it's to the downside or moving bullish to the upside, if I could just identify those key levels of where price may visit next, okay, that could really help me, right, in regards to, I like how that came out. That's not right. In regards to those high probability reversal zones. And then if I get that reversal, think about it now. If I get that reversal and I get a trend line break, okay, I can start tracking my waves from there. I could catch the wave from there, right? See here? See? So this, right, was the origin for this entire move. Everybody followed it or not? Drop me a 3. Glad to be back. Let me know you guys are with me.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we can't overlook. I'm just gonna take the setup. I'm not gonna mark my top down. I'm not gonna do my ritual, right? Whether you join us on Saturday or not, right? I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna, hey man, yeah, look, at least do your top down analysis so you can see, hey, price is broken through 87.07. Next stop is 86.08. I'm just gonna mark that or highlight that and set an alert, because wherever it holds next in regards to support and its potential reversal, okay? Especially if I have a directional bias, if I've been able to determine it, like, hey man, the yen is weak fundamentally, right? I'm looking for reversals at that point. And you can see how this was clean, okay? So from this original point, right, that's been moving through through all the wave and the whipping back and forth, right, at his high point. That's up 480 pips or so. Right now we're in another ABCD wave. Just moving to the long side. Okay. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And getting a better understanding of why we do that top-down analysis. Okay. You can see the different reactions prices having at certain levels. Okay. So if you never put a fib on these charts, right, you have to be able to see that, right? You have to be able to see this break and this retesting of this level here, right? Even here, you guys see that right here, okay?
Hi, Benny.
That's there.
Just a quick one. On the weekly level, when you identify that low, do you wait for the swing a low to form to link it to the lower time frame, or you just
No.
identify?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, or you just identify that low price and just link it to the lower time frames and then subtracting it from the lower time frame, for example, the 4 hour or the 1 hour.
Yep. So when I identify that this level here on the weekly or the daily, right? So I really like, I've got this weekly level, right? I'm gonna identify it, and then I'm gonna drop down to the time frame that I like to try to get that break. You see what I mean? So I'm not gonna wait for it to form. Like this, for example, here. I'm not gonna wait for it. Now, if you want to, if you're a daily chart trader, then you can wait for the swing low to form, right? But if I'm looking to get into like a smaller setup, right, than the daily chart, then I'm just gonna go down to where that reaction initially occurred right here. And I'm gonna let the swing low form on my 4. That's where I'm gonna play it at. Some people may play it on the 1, right? Because you're gonna have a swing low to form on the 1 before you do the 4, right? So it just depends on, it's kind of like what your preference is at that point. But I've already had these levels, these key levels, especially the daily and the weekly levels. I already have them marked. So if I see prices looking like it's coming down into this zone, I'm just gonna be on alert on my lower time frames, right? So these are just additional ways to help you guys spot reversals, right? Potential reversals in the market. So once you see it from the higher time frame, you can come down to whatever chart you like to trade on and wait for that low, right? So the 4, I think the 4-hour charts are very solid, right? Especially for swing trading. So now here's price, because the chart is gonna move from left to right. So I'm identifying that price is coming into, right? And this is just playing a support and resistance game. That price is coming into 86.08. Well, if I'm waiting on the swing low, these are 4-hour candles. So I got 8 hours. And then if I'm waiting on the trend line break, which you got right there, right? Matter of fact, this is beautiful. You got a trend line break and you got consolidation and a breakout. Look at that. Boom, above 87.56. Okay, then you could take it from there. So this is just, right, how things originate. This is without even putting a fib on. And we know a lot of times when we get these, right, if we go back and we start dropping fibs, we know a lot of times these are what? If we put a fib on it. They're AB boundaries or they're 118, 127 zones for an 80-20 swing to the downside. But I think it's important, when I was, off on vacation and thinking about certain things, how simple this game really is, right? I'm thinking like, do we really understand that when it comes into these key levels, right? There's a potential for price to reverse. Do we really understand how to identify that potential reversal? And are you gonna be right all the time? Nope. You don't have to be in trading to make money. That's another thing we have to understand, right? Because sometimes we may say we get it, but emotionally we don't get it. Is that we're not gonna be right all the time and that we don't have to. Right. So, yep. So when you see it coming down, just, hey, I'm into this level. Let me drop down to my 4 or my 1. I'm gonna play the trend line break. Okay. And then at that point, right, if you're just playing that support and resistance game, at that point, you can put your stop below your low, below your swing. All right. What was that, as a matter of fact, coming down top? Let's see if I can catch where that previous high was, where that reversal spotted. So no, that was what's the name coming? So that was a range. So that's not there. But here we are in this this zone here, right, where it hit that low. Okay. So on the sub fib, you probably would have got it if you were using the fib on that. If I dropped the sub fib from the C. But this is where your reversal occurred off that weekly level. Okay. So that's what I would look to identify. I'm coming down, I'm coming into a weekly level. Am I going to get the swing low? So you can see here, even at this, your 80, what is this, 8707 level, you didn't get it. Okay. You didn't get it at your 87, your 8662 level, you didn't get it. But you got it here at 8608. Right? The swing lows and swing highs are important. You see how it just kept pushing through the levels and then finally it settled and it broke trend line. Okay. So you can see that it accelerated, right? The sell side move accelerated here. That's why you have it in a trend line. Okay, and then we finally pushed up and broke through. Okay. So just as you guys are training your eyes, right, the spatial intelligence, identifying that, right, just know that, hey, man, the nuts and bolts of this thing is support and resistance still. Okay, and looking for those reactions, right? So hopefully that helps somebody. So that's the Aussie yen. I want to go back and take a look at this. Any other questions on that before I move forward? Jeremy, that was a great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just trying to add some additional nuggets on there to help you guys in regards to confirmations and things like that. Okay. All right. So let me revisit this on the link down here. Okay. You can see how it reacted. It broke and retested this daily level. Right? And you can see right here again on your lower levels, see where it formed that swing low? See how it came back and formed that swing low at that daily level and it took off, right? So if you missed it there, look at the pullback. Okay, you guys see the fib wave on that, right? I don't even have to put a fib on that. That's what we mean. Once you see it, you can't see it. You know, you can't not see it. Okay, look at the wave and the pullback, boom, and then the push up. Okay, so that's where we are. And then you can look on this 1 hour, right, where you got that 80-20 type scenario. Do we pull back? Right, we pull back into this zone, 80-20, right? Ryan covered that earlier. And then after we make this move down into the buy zone, we get back long. Okay. So that's the Aussie yen. I want to take a look at this Euro CAD because Ryan covered the Euro Aussie this morning, and you're looking at a similar situation, right? Larger overall move combined with a smaller setup, okay, that you could take advantage of. So if we come and take a look at this Euro CAD, okay, let me come back here. Right? So just like here, see how we pushed, right? Now we got that swing. When we start pushing into those levels, you can come down to your lower time frame, right? I'm noticing this zone here, right? So you can see there's 2 weekly levels and a monthly level there, okay? You got all of this mess here where price struggled before, okay? So that entire zone, when price moves up into that zone, I could drop down to my lower time frames, right? Again, this is even without using fibs. This is just structure, price action, support and resistance. I can say, man, when it pushes up into this zone, I could drop down to my lower time frame and say, man, can I get an entry short on that? Okay. So let's move down through the zones though. And you can see how, yep, we got a double bottom off the 236, strong reaction to the upside. But even with that double bottom and that strong reaction to the upside, what is that? Over 850 pips, right? To the high monthly level of 150.98. You still stalled and rejected and then pushed straight to that D extension. Because the market, right? For some reason, loves to try to find that 382. Right. So we've got a bearish move here. But you can see now, price action, structure, support, resistance. Look how we stormed through this level. Okay. Look how we stormed through this level here at 148.46. Okay. That was a swing low. Look at the rejection, right? Double tops right here. Now we're pushing right back down. So we know, look, strong break of support. The question is, do we want to pull back to that level to retest it? As price oftentimes likes to do, okay? Maybe we don't get all the way back to 148.46. Maybe we come in here in this zone, okay? So what is that? Which oftentimes will show up on our lower time frame. So here, this previous level, see that there? Past resistance there, okay? That didn't become support. See how it broke through? So it may act as resistance again. See it here, a little bit higher there, right? All in a similar zone. So the question is, hey, are we ready to correct? And does that give us an opportunity on the lower time frames to play an 80-20 move, right? Or do we just want to wait on the high price and then the continuation down, understanding that we don't have a 382 yet. Now the daily is long term, okay? So maybe we push up, maybe we push into support, and then we move back up, right? And we kick kind of range bound, right? Either way you look at it, if we find support and we go long, right? Whether it's a range or a continuation or, you know, a short, right? Back down to the bottom of the range and possibly to the 382, we're in a pretty good position for a setup, right? Okay. Here. Here's your daily fib. Okay. This is your daily fib brought down to the 4. Okay. You got a trend line break. Here's this 146.20 level. If we hold, can we get that pullback? You may say, Benny, well, I just want to respect the larger fib, the price action on the larger fib. Well, when you get to a high price off this sub fib here, if you're saying, hey, I want to respect this larger move to this daily 382, then if you get a high price, short it because it's been short, right? So you got a couple options. Everybody follow me on that? Drop me a 2 in the chat. Make sure we're all on the same page on what we're looking at. Right? Because I'm not, if I'm like, hey, Benny, I've been short, right? I've been short on this out of this 127 zone. Yes, Benny, I had some drawdown, but my stop is way, you know, I'm using a wide stop. So I'm good right now. Right? I'm good out of the 127 zone. I was in drawdown, now I'm back in profit. I'm up almost 300 pips. Okay. Well, decide what you're gonna do. Are you gonna reduce some of your trade being up 300 pips? Or are you just gonna adjust your stop loss down? What are you gonna do at this point? Right? Take some money off the table, or you're gonna do some trade? Are you gonna take the opportunity to buy this back to a high price with another position? Or are you gonna wait for price to pull back and then add to your position that you're shorting already? Right? There's only a few scenarios, right? It's like I always go back to playing sports because that's what I play. Once you get into a football season, there's only so many variations, right? That another team is going to do. Their playbook is their playbook. They only have so much time during the week or so much time during the season to add new wrinkles and actually get good at the new wrinkle. Right? So you know, hey, there's only so many things that they can do. Out of this formation that they have on the field, there's only so many things that they can do. Right? It's just like when you work in sales, and it's like there's only 6 major objections that you have to overcome to close a sale. Right? Anybody ever heard of that? Drop me yes, no. Right? Anybody ever work in sales?
Yep.
No.
Yep. No. They tell you that. Like there's typically 6 types of objections. I mean, that a customer will get. If you can overcome those, you can close a deal, and it's universal. Now, it's the same thing with trading, right? And the way we structure the market. There's only certain situations that you're gonna see that you have to make decisions on and how you want to plan. But what do we always say? However you do it, just be consistent. Right? I already know, right, in this scenario, that if I haven't been involved in this down move, I don't want to sell right now because it's not my optimal high price. So if I've already missed this move out of the 80-20, which is a monster to the downside, and we've got a potential if price wants to continue to move, right, for what, another 560 from where it's at now. If it pushes back up into one of the zones, you're looking at more than that to the 382. I know that right now, this is not the ideal place for me to sell. Right? It's already broken through a major support level, destroyed the swing low. It's already moved down close to 300 pips, depending on where you got in or took the trade. So it may be due for a correction. So I'm not going to make the rookie mistake of selling that right now. because of FOMO. So I can X that off, like, hey, the sale's not there. Now it's just a matter of where do I get my next high price if I'm going to sell? If my bias is, hey, this is going to eventually continue to move to the downside, I need a high price to sell. Okay, well, I know what my trade rules are. I know where I was short. This is not it, so I need to wait. If I'm a counter trend trader and I'm looking at this, and if I'm just a support and resistance type of trader, and I knew nothing about the 80-20 rule or anything like that, you know that from a structural standpoint, this is coming into a key level of support with price reacting. Right? Price reacted here before. I just looked left, right? Past resistance became future support, it reacted. It's coming back down to this level. Will I get the same type of reaction, right? Now, I may take it here off this level. I may drop down to the 1 to 15, depending on what your trade plan is and how you like to trade. But I know I'm coming into a key level of support where price may react. So no matter how you look at it, we're in the same situation. There's only so many things that price can do at this point. Even if it continues to break through these levels without hardly any correction, it's not my high price to sell. So I guess it's just going to hit this D extension. It is what it is, right? But this is the move, okay, on the 4 hour, this Euro CAD. Any questions on that?
So Benny, just a quick one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, in the community, you made a statement that we look at the monthly and the weekly for our directional bias,
Yes.
and look on the daily for the high price or the low price to identify our place on the lower time frames.
Mm.
So how do you link that statement with the weekly? Looking
Oh, so if I'm coming here, right? Let me here, right? So right now, okay, this has been moving long. So my directional bias is overall long, but I'm in a correction, right? So I may be in an up retracement zone. You see what I mean?
yeah,
Right? You see how this has been moving up? So I have
yeah.
to say my overall directional bias is long overall. My directional bias is long, but I know I'm into resistance, so I may be in a where price is making a correction. But overall, this is long, right? Meaning that any move to the downside right now until the market tells us otherwise is seen as a correction. You get what I'm saying on that? Right? You see that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because this is a weekly, these are weekly candles, right? So I just came in a structure here, but you can see here on this weekly, that's an 80-20, right? So my directional bias is long, but I'm in an up retracement zone. So yes, this trade could collapse all the way down to 142.35. But when you think about it, now you think, okay, what else plays besides the technical perspective of me seeing this fib? What else plays into that directional bias? Well, fundamentals play into that direction, right? The Euro bulls have been out, correct?
Yes.
Yes, right? We've been talking, I don't know, Ryan, what's it been, 2 months? Gotta be close to in regards to Euro longs. So now we're just in a situation where we know things don't move straight up forever. Even in an uptrend, it's gonna make higher highs and what? Higher lows. So now we're just in the price where it's run quite a ways, okay, and it's corrected. See? It's corrected 2,000 pips, 2,100 pips, okay, to the upside. Now, we're coming into a situation where this is long-term weekly, okay? Do we find support in this zone at this B boundary? Maybe, maybe not. This is long term, right? But you can see here, okay, on this daily where we're up, see that 236 that's up. We do not have right? At 382. So overall, I'm still moving up. I'm just in an up retracement zone. So my overall bias is long, right? Over the long term is just, am I in a C to D push and extension, or am I in that retracement zone, an up retracement zone? This is an up AB boundary, and price is currently retracing. See what I mean? So I know my directional bias is overall long. So that tells me which way to deploy my fibs, which is how, right, we find these setups. Okay. So my fibs are being deployed to the upside. I am currently trending to the upside. Okay. So even if this price wanted to work its way all the way down into the buy zone, right? Price is correcting. So yes, we'll be bearish on the lower time frames, but we know why. It's still just in a correction, right? And eventually it'll find its low price and get long. Okay. This is going to tell us a lot at this level because it could just be range bound, right? It could just be range bound. It could bounce off this level and just continue long to the D extension. We don't always get that deep pullback, right? But that's okay if that happens because we understand that our directional bias is long. Does that help you a little bit?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So a reaction, even though ideally we would love for a big time swing for us to come into this zone and then get long, we know the reality is that the Euro bulls have been pretty aggressive. We've got the Canadian dollar holding rate, right? Is inflation showing signs of being slowing in Canada, right? So we're looking at the end of possibly the end of a tightening cycle for Canada in regards to interest rate hikes. So it could very well take this level and get long. And that shouldn't surprise us because our directional bias is long anyway, right? So yeah, that's that. So this is where we are. So you can see on the one smaller wave, how this pushed down lower. See that there? Right. It's trying to make a U-turn, but this is that 146.20 level. That, hey, if it comes into this level, that's great, right? We would love to see it retest the level. Look at that, right? Okay. So this is where we are in regards to that. So it's been a monster move to the downside. Awesome, right? The whole, strategy in regards to that 80-20 zone, right, that we talk about so much, right? You got a reaction. It's amazing. Look, that's a huge bullish move. Stalled out, right? You got some profit taking going. Pushed it back down. Okay. There's some people, right, that see this, right? And this is just as you grow and as you, they're like, look, okay, these are those caveats. I got a 236, but I also have a weekly level. And I just double bottomed at that weekly level. If you take that move, nobody can blame you for that. This is just a fib or no fib. This is just a tried and true, right, technical formation and a weekly level of support. Everybody see that? That's 142.35. That's a weekly level. Price fell to continue a breakout, and it came back and retested that level again. If you identify that double bottom and you take a shot on that off of a trend line break, kudos to you. All right? Because I'm putting my stop, I'm still at my stop right below the low of the double bottom. We just say whatever you do, be consistent. Make sure you write it down so that you know how to identify it. Right? So hey, ideally I'd like to trade 61.8 or whatever it is, with the exception of key technical patterns at strong levels of support and resistance, then I'll take a shot on that. But this right here, that's a clean play. All right. Any questions on that EuroCAD?
Nope.
All righty. Right. And right, the moves, you just have to be patient, right? And you have to stay in the game, right? Because if we take a look at the Euro NZD, right? And this was right before I left out on vacation. But if you look at this, right, the initial move ran a stop a little tighter because there was fundamental data coming out on the Euro, right? Initially got stopped out. But look, whenever I get took on a move, right, and it doesn't go my way, right, then I add in additional confirmation, everybody. Hey, the initial move didn't work. Keep your eye on it. It didn't move to my D extension, right? It didn't move to my D extension. That's still active. You still only had a 236 retracement. Okay. It pushed up higher. I had that stop just above that 180.20 level because of that fundamental data. I know it's a possibility. Hey, it may just push it long. It did push it long, but it held, formed a high and reversed, right? So then you just add in, like, I'm gonna add in, if I'm gonna take another look at this, I'm gonna add in some additional confirmation. If you don't already use it, right? There's a limit play for me that I got stopped out on. But then I throw in an additional confirmation and say, you know what? Well, if I get the break, then I'm gonna play it, right? So this is giving us every bit of the 600 pips that we projected to the downside on the Euro NZD. Right? So there's just things that you learn over time. That's what Ryan always says, man. Just keep your head in it. Give yourself time to get this thing down. Trade small, okay? So you're not losing your hair, okay? Stressing out, okay? Getting mad at your loved ones, right? Because the trade is not going in your direction initially, okay? And then, right, hang in there, right? It's a good one to study. Good one to study, all right? So that's the Euro NZD. So that's coming down, right? Right into that buy zone at that TV2. So then the question is moving forward, does this eventually reverse in this AB boundary and start making higher highs and higher lows on the reversal, right? If you don't want to take it initially, if you're saying, hey, I'm bullish on the Euro, and the New Zealand is pretty strong too, then you could do stuff like we always say when we post charts, hey, use additional confirmation. So maybe this is one where you put your cloud on the 4 hour or the 1 hour, right? And you say, you know what? Overall, I love the Euro long. I know the NZD is showing some strength, but I favor the Euro. If it starts moving long, I'll wait for a cloud break. Maybe you don't do it on a 4, maybe you do it on a 1. And if I can get a break above the cloud, then I'll take a shot on it long for a trend continuation to the upside, right? Because if my A doesn't get taken out, we always say that if price doesn't take out the A, it has no choice but to go my way. But what is that really saying? What that's saying is if this A doesn't get taken out, then you're going to make a higher low. Here's a low. This would be a higher low. And then price continues to a higher high. That's all I'm saying, right? So if you come here, the A didn't get taken out. That was my low. Okay. This was my low. Right. Price moved up and it made a what? Higher low. So now it's just a question of, is price going to make a higher low and then move to a higher high? And the reason why we like to tie fundamentals into it is because that's, in addition to the fibs, right, and technical analysis, is because this is what helps you to not just gain 20, 30 pips, but it can help you to ultimately gain, right, 900 pips. Like, I traded 30 pips and I could have gained 900. How you gonna feel about that after that happens so many times? So that's why we always do our best to try to build a case. Any questions on the Euro NZD?
No, sir.
All right. Want to take a look at, I have this Euro Swissy marked down.
Yeah.
You say something right? My bad.
The Euro Swissy.
Yeah, I had it. Oh, I'm short on it. I am short. What do you have on that?
So I was looking at potentially going back to the top of the range, but
To the top of the
overall,
range?
long-term short,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to stall out. Yeah, that makes sense because I know I am. Yeah, short on this off the one.
Off the 618 retracement 76.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 4-hour resistance level. But it could very well range because we're talking about the Swiss again, right? Definitely not weak. You know what I mean? For sure. That's why you see this tail into the downside of the Euros, not weak either.
Right.
Right. So I can see it bouncing around and what you're thinking about there, especially off this B boundary, this 4-hour support level. But I'm short on it right now. So we'll see how it plays out. So you're looking at a range. Type of range
that's what
scenario.
Yeah, especially because that, and the market even took back that full bullish candle on the 4, that long move there that put you at the 618 retracement, took back the whole thing. But that's what initially had me looking at it, was that was a strong move, so potentially a pullback and then retrace it back to 98.792, that resistance level.
Okay.
So yeah, but with it taking back that, with it taking back more than 100% of that move, it may still stay short.
Yeah. So we'll see how that one plays out. We'll monitor it for sure. But I definitely see the play that you're looking at as well on that. Yeah. So that's the Euro CHF. Let's see how it continues to play out. It definitely could bounce for sure. Because it took back every bit of that. So I'm always, you're right on point. Because you're thinking range when you see that happen. And especially with these two pairs, you can't figure it out. You know what I mean? So we'll see if it breaks that B boundary or not. That'll tell the tale too. Yeah. All right. So that's that. The Euro GBP. Well. Oh, so we finally got a breakout. So we can see here from the weekly level, look at that range. We finally broke. Right? This has been a mess. Look, strong. That's a strong bullish move. Couldn't break that 89.79 level. Then it came back and it moved sideways, and we finally got the move down. Okay. Finally got that move down. So we broke through there, and now we can see where we broke that. So the key is, everybody on this, do we stay below this level? Do we break back above it? Okay. That's pretty strong. That's a pretty strong move. Okay, so we'll see how much the market wants to take back on that. Let me zoom out. Forward. Right. So we finally broke this range. So I ran that fib off because we broke the range to the downside. And that's where we are. So maybe we get a move and a retest back up and then a continuation down, right? We got a lot of concern out of the UK about that inflation, and we know that the Bank of England is going to have to do something about it. It's still extremely high, right? And I think that's what the market is thinking here. Right? And you see this downside pressure coming in. So enjoy. So here we are. Okay. There's that 87.19 level that it just broke. Okay, right around that 50% zone, 50% zone. I am going to, right, I'm going to look to see, right, can we get it to move back up in this area, right? Look for some structure and potential short, continuation short. Okay, if we move right down to this 118, 127 zone, I'll entertain it then, right, for potential buyback to the high price. But I would love to see it just take off and give me a high price to see if we can get back short, get short, get a continuation. Any questions on the Euro GBP? Just happy to see it finally break that range. All right.
No.
All right. So let's take a look at this this Euro JP, right? So for the most part, long against the Euro yen. And Ryan, I don't know. There was I need to start making cut up, but the grind, because they're like so into stocks and everything like that. But you know, on Bloomberg, they always had their currency center. This guy said it, and even though we were already on it, it just gives you good confirmation. He was like, "Oh," and he just talked about it like it was nothing. And this was probably like had to be longer than a month ago. And they were saying like any type of FX plays that you would look to play. He was like, I don't know. He was like the Euro yen. He just kept talking. like he just this banker just kept talking, and sure enough, right? Long, Euro yen long is long. Like he just is like the Euro yen would be a good one to play, and it's just it's just going along. I mean, but it was kind of an obvious move. Ultra loose monetary policy out of the Bank of Japan. We saw really no change with the new leadership in regards to the rhetoric, and the euro has just been a bull, right? It's just been a bull. So kind of all makes sense, but it's always good confirmation to hear from some of the big boys, right? When they let the cat out of the bag a little bit as to what they would play, and it's just been a little bit long. So now, right, this is where we are. From a daily time frame, look at that swing. Okay, look at that swing. So now it's just hovering. Stochastic's moving back into the buy zone. It has moved back into the buy zone. And we're moving sideways. So we come down to the 4. Okay. It's just a matter of, right, where's the potential opportunity? Okay, so we can already see that we're long. I just pulled that daily fib down. So that's what it's tracking. And then oftentimes these big swings, I'll just drop a cloud on there just to see what we look like. Right? So if we see how we're kind of hovering below this cloud now, right? So the only way I would get involved in that long at this point, right, is if we can get a break back long above it. So if we come into the 1, the cloud, and see what we look like on that Euro JPY. This has already moved up pretty good. Right. So we start to get moves back above the cloud eventually, then there may be an option there. See, on your 1, see how it's moved up, right? Beautiful 80-20 swing. I know we had covered that before. Move to the downside, right? You don't have to go far, everybody, to see those moves planned out. Did it hit the D extension? Nope. Came right back down in the zone. Okay. You got, what is this, a 4-hour support level, 61.8, and you got a push. Okay. So now I'm interested to see what this looks like off the sub. Moving along. There we go. Stochastics in the sell zone, right? So you got time to kind of wait on that, right? On that move. Right? Wait for your confirmations if you're using the cloud. Right? Rate on your confirmation was still below that monthly level of 148.39. Right? See if we can get a push in the continuation, right? Here's a low, here's a higher low, here's a higher low, right? Does that hold? Right? Does that hold? And then do we get that continuation long eventually on that Euro JPY? That's what I'm leaning towards, more towards that buy side still. Okay, unless we were to move into some type of, because of something fundamentally that happens and we move into a major risk off situation where that yen can strengthen, I have to take that euro over that JPY. Any questions over the euro yen?
No.
Oh, I'm in agreement with you.
All right. Appreciate it. I want to take a look at a couple before we log off, a couple of these NZD pairs. Like I want to take a look at this NZD CAD, and we'll jump off. NZD CAD scenario. Okay. Here's the daily. So this one could be decent opportunity, right? Look at this swing. Okay. Look at this swing here. How it's starting to reverse. Okay. If we let's take a peek at the trade economics on the NZD CAD, right? We're buy side on that, on the NZD CAD across all time frames. So I definitely like it. Right now, I'm favoring a long play. And you can see here on the 4, where we've got a 50% retracement right at the edge of that buy zone. And I'm gonna put the cloud on here. This one is looking pretty good, right? That fit formed above the cloud, and you can see how it's starting to try to continue to push long, right? And I'm favoring that. When you talk about that yen and that CAD, I'm not the highest on the CAD right now in regards to strength, especially with the way oil is going, with the CAD being at the end of their tightening cycle. Right, is what it looks like. I'm liking that long on the swing. I like this to be a C to D push to that D extension, right? Which is about 150 pips away to that weekly level is about 138 pips, 140, something like that. But I just like the way that looks. Like I take my chances on that. On the one you can see here on the 1 hour is just moving sideways. Right, just moving sideways there. But I kind of like that one. This NZD Swissy. Here. So look at this here, right? So when we talk about, you know, directional bias and low prices and things like that, look how that came right back up above that level there. Yeah, we got to pay attention. Yeah. Right. Look at that. So here's the major low there. Look how it broke this level and then it swung back, right? So we know that this week closes out bullish. You're gonna have a swing low right there. That's gonna be support. That's gonna be a weekly support. Okay, if you come into the daily, right, you kind of already have it. See how it's pushing up long there? Okay. Okay. So we've got this bullish move. Okay. So now that I've broken above this level, okay, my next level becomes right back here, right where we had some levels before. And then if I could put in, right, my resistance level here, okay, like this. Like this down. Okay. Here. You can see here from before. So about how this move has been playing out. I got a super slow glitchy screen tonight. There you go. See that there? See how that's pulling back? Right? See how we've been moving now? Now we've got that reaction. Moving back long. See if we can get it back into the zone. So now, this is where we are. See, look. what's going on. Follow it, everybody. See, look how this is moving. 80-20, right? Trying to move it back to that high price. Okay. Just like we drew it up. See? So there's that swing. So we can see price right now. It got that reaction. And now we'll see if we can get it to push a little bit higher into the zone and then make our decision from there in regards to whether it's ready to continue short. Any questions on that? But that's how we come into finding, right, the additional confirmation for these setups. So we see that can continue to push it to our sell zone. Mhm. All right. Any questions on anything that we covered tonight, everybody? I'm glad to be back.
Glad to have you back, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Nope, not at the moment. All right,
No.
right. Anything to add before we close out? Appreciate you, Jeremy.
No, sir. Great session, man.
All right. Well, we'll be right back at it tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate all of you showing up for yourself. Look forward to seeing those who can make it in the morning. Pre-New York session with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. Everybody, have a good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks,